Hi, I'm Craig, and welcome back to another on-the-road video brought to you by ApplianceVideo.com. Stop. Before beginning any repair, always be sure to disconnect the power to the appliance. It is also recommended to test the outlet for the proper voltage. Today, we have a Frigidaire upright freezer. The complaint is that it's very loud while it's running. So to start, we're going to access the rear of the refrigerator to check the internal components. To proceed to the next step, you will need a voltmeter. The reason why is because when you're testing these windings, you need to test out and see the ohm rating. Like I said previously, you'll have a start, a run, and a common. When you're hooking up to these, basically, the start winding will always ohm out higher than the run winding. And then the start winding and the run winding ohming out together will equal that amount that they were separately. The tools you will need for this repair: a flathead screwdriver or tack puller device, and a voltmeter. So what I'm going to do next, I recommend using an alligator lead extension just because it's a little tricky sometimes to put your hands in here where the compressor is at. So I'm going to go ahead and hook on my first lead to the top so that it stays there. Use my secondary lead to check out the ohm rating. You'll see it right up here so I can explain to you kind of what's happening. So I'm going to connect to the first one. We have 5.2 ohms, okay? If we connect to the second one, we have 6.2 ohms. 6.4 ohms, I'm sorry. Now, if I was to connect this one to the bottom outside one, and connect this lead together here, oops. You'll see we had 12.1 ohms. That's showing me that this winding right here is the common. The reason why you know that is because when we cooked the top one and the bottom one here, it was only 5 something. When we hooked this one to this one, it was 6 something. But with these two hooked together, we were at 12. Like I said previously, the higher rated one is going to be your actual start winding. That means the lower rated one, being this one, is going to be your run winding. Considering the ratings showing that, that's showing me that the windings are all okay. The next thing I'm gonna do is test them to ground. So I'm gonna hook each one of them up to the actual meter lead and start testing to see if I have continuity to ground. So my common to ground is currently fine. Let's check the start to ground. That one is good as well. Now we'll do the run to ground. That one is also good. So internally, what I can check with my voltmeter, the compressor seems to be okay. There can still be internal issues with the compressor, such as maybe a rod is bent or it has a leak or something like that. But this is a great way to test the windings. It just kind of eliminates one component that could be in the way that could be causing you problems. So next, we're going to access the front of the refrigerator. Upon checking the front of the refrigerator, it seems that our frost pattern is great. The control board is sending power down to the unit. Even though the starting component checked out fine, there can be intermittent issues with these starting components where maybe every once in a while it will fail. So to further go on with this refrigerator, basically what we're going to do is replace the starting component. There's a couple of things that we're going to check. First of all, the starting component here to your compressor. That's what sends power to it essentially and keeps it running. You have a capacitor on there, run capacitor, then the starting component, as well as the windings to the actual compressor that could be grounded out or having internal issues with it. So to start, you're going to want to take off the wiring harness right here. It's attached to the start device. this one has a small clip that goes in, so you have to use your flathead screwdriver to pull it this way and then push up in order to remove it. Now that we have that disconnected, you can put that out of the way. Your next step is to remove the clip that holds on the start device. You do so by pushing down and pulling out to remove that. Get that out of the way. Next, you'll want to remove the start device. So unhook your ground so that's not in the way. You can use a flathead screwdriver. I prefer to use a tack puller and just gently pry on that to start loosening it. Use your hand some and pop it off. You'll see that it has 3 inputs on the start device, as well as 3 prongs on the actual compressor itself. These, you have a start winding, a run winding, and a common. We'll get back to that a little bit later. On this one, you want to disconnect the actual run capacitor. Typically on these units, when you take them off, if you shake them, you can hear an internal rattle. That's just showing that the internal components are basically dead in it. And then also, you can go like that and smack on your hand, and you'll have, bits of sand that come off of here. There's no great way to actually test this component. If that happens, it's definitely bad. But this one seems to be pretty good. Typically, when these things go bad, the compressor will try to start. As soon as it tries to start, it'll run for maybe 5 or 10 seconds, and then it'll click and turn off the compressor. And you'll continuously do this, causing the compressor to get very hot and your refrigerator not to cool. So to begin this repair, we'll get your new starting component as well as your run capacitor. What you will need to do is hook in your run capacitor. You will see that it has a small hole that is designated for this, that you cannot put it on the wrong way. So simply slide the terminals inside there, push all the way down, and this will secure it. And then pay attention to how it actually hooks up. You have 2 prongs on the bottom as well as 1 prong on the top, just what we have here. So make sure you're trying to put it on the right way so that you don't cause any bending to the actual prongs to the compressor by trying to force it on the wrong way. So we have it in here in the correct spot. Just push. It will be kind of stiff when you do this. And then your next portion is to just hook in your power wire. Make sure that's secured, and then reconnect your ground wire. Turn the refrigerator on. Listen for any types of clicks. I didn't hear any on this one in particular, but I have seen a couple of times in the past where there has been faulty starting components with that. But just turn it on, let it fire up, wait about 10 minutes, watch your amp draw. You should be somewhere a little over or under 1 amp that should be pulling on this for the compressor. As long as everything checks out okay, you're good to go. And this will complete your repair. Thank you for watching another quality video brought to you by ApplianceVideo.com.